July 2, 1955. Flight 914, a Douglas DC-4, takes off from New York bound for Miami. There are 57 passengers and 4 crew members on board. Weather is clear. The route is routine. Estimated flight time 3 hours. But the plane never arrives. Air traffic control loses contact shortly after takeoff. Search operations are launched immediately. No wreckage is found. No distress signal is received. Days turn into weeks. Eventually, the flight is declared lost. Presumed crashed into the ocean. Families mourn. The case fades from headlines. Then 37 years later, on May 21, 1992, Caracas, Venezuela, an airport radar detects an unidentified aircraft entering restricted airspace. The plane ignores repeated hails from the control tower. Finally, it responds. This is Flight 914, New York to Miami. Where are we? Controllers are stunned. They ask the pilot to repeat. The reply comes again. This is Flight 914, departed July 2, 1955. But it's 1992, and this plane vanished almost 4 decades ago. The air traffic controller informs the crew of the date. There's silence. Then the pilot mutters, "Oh my God," and cuts the transmission. Ground crews scramble. They see the plane circling, preparing to land. The aircraft appears outdated but intact. No signs of damage. No visible modifications. It lands smoothly on the runway. Emergency teams rush toward it. But as they approach, the engines roar back to life. The pilot shouts over the radio, "We're leaving!" The plane accelerates and takes off again. Within moments, it vanishes from radar. Airport officials are left speechless. Security reviews the footage. The landing, the communications, the takeoff, all recorded, all real. Investigators try to track the aircraft. But there's no trail. No blip on the radar. No evidence of where it went. 3 days later, a strange event occurs. A weather satellite picks up a brief, unexplained radar signature in the skies above Miami. It lasts just 12 seconds, but it matches the profile of a DC. Was it Flight 914? And if so, how did it get there? Years later, an anonymous man who claimed to be a retired air traffic controller stepped forward. He was in his late 70s and visibly nervous. He claimed to have been on duty the day Flight 914 appeared in Caracas. According to him, the plane did land. And not just for a few seconds. Authorities quickly surrounded it. And agents in unmarked vehicles arrived within minutes. He said the passengers were disoriented, terrified, but physically unharmed. They asked what day it was. They asked why they were being surrounded. They asked where their loved ones were waiting. When informed it was the year 1992, some collapsed in shock. Others screamed. One passenger fainted and never regained consciousness. According to this whistleblower, the passengers were separated from the crew. Their personal items were collected and locked away. Then, they were moved to a secured location. The man never knew where. Only that they disappeared into the system. The plane was confiscated, and the runway it landed on was closed for repairs the very next day. He said he signed a government non-disclosure agreement, one that threatened prosecution, or worse if he spoke publicly. He waited nearly 30 years until his conscience couldn't take it anymore. The truth about Flight 914 didn't vanish. It just slipped into the shadows. No official records. No public acknowledgement. Only whispers and a trail of people who got too close, only to back away, or disappear completely. Independent investigators tried to trace the passengers. Flight manifests were incomplete. Family members had moved, changed names, or were never found. Even their photos vanished from archives, as if the world was being edited, one memory at a time. Some believe Flight 914 encountered a natural rift in time, an anomaly, a fold in reality, like a cosmic mistake. Others claim the flight was deliberately redirected, that the passengers were part of an experiment, one they didn't volunteer for. But one detail never changes. The crew never reported turbulence, never experienced engine failure, never saw a storm. For them, the flight lasted just 3 hours. But for the world, it was 37 years, and no one has ever explained how or why. Could time have windows? Moments that open and close, swallowing everything in their path. And if it happened once, could it happen again? Right now, a plane might be taking off somewhere. Just like Flight 914, it'll fly into the clouds and vanish, only when the world has completely forgotten it. Or worse, when the world isn't ready to face what comes back. Subscribe to SKYPLUS, because this isn't just about aviation. It's about the unknown. And in the skies, the unknown is always watching.